So I'm sure you're curious about the previous Guardians. As we know, Yanlin in the comics has died and is serving on the Council of Candracar, while in the show she's just a kooky cookie. So Cassidy is the former Guardian of Water. She was murdered by Nerissa and in the comic verse serves as a spiritual guide for Will. An encounter that deserves its own video. So in the show, Nerissa summons Cassidy's ghost and parades her around Heatherfield trying to get her to want life again. They go to her favorite beach, a children's hospital which was her dream to work at, and only succeeds when she brings her to the home of her mother.
Say you want to live.
I want to live.
Compassion is a powerful thing, especially when it fuels desire. The desire for something you cannot, should not have, is the chink in the armor of your soul, and all I need to make you mine.
Taking her as a mind slave. The former Guardian of Fire, Hallinor, actually lived out her life in Will's former town of Fadden Hills. She formed an orphanage called the Rising Star Foundation, which she ran with the former Guardian of Earth. She's no Elizabeth Schuyler, however, as almost everyone raised at that orphanage, at least in the time of Will's life, was raised in order to spy on her. So there's really no reason as to why Hallinor wanted Will spied on, or even how they knew that she was going to be the leader of the next Guardians. This could be because she was born under Cassidy's star, a supposed astrological phenomena recorded in Hallinor's diary that actually needed to be ciphered by an astrologist. So the astrologist actually surmises that these original calculations were done over 150 years ago, again leading me to believe that Yanlin's group of Guardians were from centuries ago. So Hallinor in the TV verse is a member of Candracar. She only serves the purpose of Nerissa targeting her as the next mind slave. So Nerissa actually plays off of Hallinor's anxieties and convinces her to try to take the Guardian's powers in order to protect Candracar, serving as Luba's role in not trusting the girl's abilities.
Fear is a powerful thing, especially when it fuels betrayal. The need to do anything, no matter how treasonous, to smother the burning flame of your own fear is the chink in the armor of your soul. And all I need to make you mine.
By the way, Luba here is just a side character with no plot attached to her. So, Hallinor trying to absorb the Guardian's powers actually results in this universe's version of Cornelia holding all of the powers.
Whoa, hot. Is that Cornelia?
What would you do without me?
It's Cornelia.
Use your lightning! Telekinesis!
Oh, go invisible again!
Okay, don't be backseat guardians!
This is a small, inconsequential blip on the plot that is quickly resolved. And while Rissy attempts to steal Cornelia, she fails and only walks away with Hallinor.
I think we'll go back to Witch. Being C alone, not nearly as fun.
So it is weird that Hallinor in the TV verse was in Candracar, considering that in the comics, Cadma, the former Guardian of Earth, mentions that they were both banished from ever joining the Council of Candracar for challenging the Oracle's way of handling Nerissa. They actually accused the Oracle of being responsible for Nerissa's death. And now that I think about it, it's really interesting that Cassidy didn't end up in Candracar. So an interesting difference between the two universes is what happened to Cadma. In the comics, she's disillusioned with Candracar and wanted very little to do with the girls. While she does end up helping here and there, in this arc, she's just a blip in the plot. Cadma had a crow familiar, something that we didn't see with the other Guardians. Meanwhile, TV-verse Cadma is queen of a planet called Zambala.
Zambala, right. And where's that again?
Zambala, the purple planet, an other dimensional jungle world. Back in the day, We saved the Zambalans from an attack by Phobos. Cadma led the charge, and the locals were so grateful, they offered her the heart of Zambala and made her their queen.
A place with talking trees.
Open your mind. Listen to the natural children of the land. Listen for the voice of Ironwood.
James, to my friends call me. To you, it's General.
Not that one. So this Cadma serves as more of a mentor to the girls, schooling Cornelia in the ability of green speaking.
Earth Guardian, approach. We will school you to commune with the vegetation of this world. On Earth, we call this green speaking.
Yeah, I can see how purple speaking doesn't have the same ring.
Concentrate, child.
Essentially what she originally achieved in the comics, just by Will thinking it was possible. Cadma lasted several episodes in the fight to stay independent from Nerissa before she's finally taken down by her pride.
We are told your power is only fueled by fear and negative emotions. Fighting us, you must be running on empty. Are you finally ready to fight your own battles, old friend? We can free Elion once the power is secure.
Wait!
Have no fear. We have harnessed these hearts. In our hand, they will be an unstoppable force for good.
Impressive. Your pride, that is. An arrogance that convinced you that no power, no matter how awesome, was beyond your control. It is the chink in the armor of your soul, Cadma.
No!
All I need to make you mine. I promise you more power than you have ever known, Cadma. But you will use that power for me.
So after all the former Guardians are mind controlled, we'll go into Yanlin's corruption later, Nerissa actually absorbs the Knights of Destruction, destroying them, returning men, Mr. Huggles, to their original forms, of course, and turning the Guardians back into their youthful forms.
The battle has only just begun.
In the comic, she did something similar to this in order to get a final power boost in the final battle, returning the dog and the scientist to their original forms. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So once again, the TV-verse fails to utilize Candracar, only using it as a backdrop for fight scenes. We never get to see the council in session or even taken seriously. In fact, there's a whole stretch of time where the elders of Candracar are trapped in a bubble, which later Haylin uses to bowl them. So OG Candracar is featured every few pages, showing us the inner workings of the fortress. We see private conversations between the Oracle and Tibor, the Oracle and Yanlin, between Yanlin and Tibor, and even self-reflection from the Oracle. So after the girls have captured Luba, thanks to the Knights of Revenge, the next chapter begins with no indication of what happened in between then and now, with it opening up as the girls start school for the fall. It feels as though a whole chunk of story was missing and you need to go back to find it. They don't discuss Nerissa, no Luba, no Caleb that was taken. Well, this is where Candracar gets a little seedy. It's revealed later that Candracar actually erased the girls' memories and all that has transpired before that.
Deep meditation will reveal the truth.
Take your time. We'll totally wait.
No!
Apparently, the Oracle felt that the girls were not strong enough to fight Nerissa. Personally, training seems more logical than that. The actual determination of their readiness is not obvious, and it keeps cutting back to the Oracle watching Caleb suffer. He claims to himself that it can take several days or several weeks, and then the comic cuts to 4 weeks later. And all that has happened since then is just boy drama. Once again, they're just watching Caleb get tortured, and Yanlin even indicates that she doesn't understand what's going on anymore. The Oracle just keeps mentioning that sacrifice is noble. And only after Nerissa absorbs some power from the knights and Caleb, making her young again, and Caleb managing to escape, does the Oracle reward their memories back. Cornelia first has a nightmare, which she shrugs off as her memory has not fully come back. And then during the school day, they all just come flooding back into their mind, and Cornelia is just absolutely disgusted. She forgot about her love. Rightfully, the girls are furious, and the Oracle just blows them off, telling them to go find Caleb. You know, the guy that he put in critical condition. So Will and Nerissa clash, appearing even here. And Luba shows up and tells the Guardians to leave and that she has a plan. However, all she does is stand there and sacrifice herself. So after this, back in Candracar, the Oracle states that drastic measures such as erasing memories is something that's going to be necessary for the road ahead, and tells them that it's still not yet time to answer any of the questions they have. So Candracar in the show eventually does talk about why the girls were selected, which is not canon and something that was never done in the comics. Especially the reason for Cornelia's selection is definitely just TV-verse.
From all you've told me, Cornelia's sister may well be a vast font of magical energy. Perhaps the heart of Earth itself.
No way.
It would explain why the Oracle chose one such as you to be a guardian.
Okay, wait. The Oracle chose us?
I thought Yan Lin picked us. She was an ex-guardian, and we were her granddaughter's best friends.
But that makes no sense. I had just come to town. I barely knew Haylin.
Haylin was indeed chosen to provide a continuity of spirit. But Cornelia's selection as guardian of Earth may have been to ensure she'd have the power and wisdom to guide and protect her sister, the heart of Earth.
I do not have the wisdom to guide any.
Okay, curiosity officially peaked.
Why were we chosen?
Yeah, spill!
Such truths only emerge with the fullness of time.
So after Nerissa has powered up by absorbing some of the Knight's powers, her dream attacks become more frequent and more potent, thus getting the girls in trouble during school as they fall asleep, essentially standing up. A comic-exclusive storyline is Will's mental state. Ever since her bad dream on the beach, Will has been in a sort of depressive state, as if Nerissa has taken all of her confidence and the heart of Candracar is a burden on her, causing her pain. It only worsens after Nerissa is captured in the dream world, symbolized by her being captured in the heart, her releasing immense power and then dissipating. Will becomes open to suggestion, and doubt is very easily seeded. So at one point, Shagon actually starts speaking through people around her, such as a store clerk, and implying such things that Matt is cheating or flirting with Haylin, and that she can't trust her friends at all. He even takes the form of Miss Rudolph at her retirement party, claiming the girls have been replaced with monsters and causing Will to attack. Feeling alone, Will turns to Matt, even though he's only served as heartache this whole time. She breaks down and begins to tell him everything, and I mean everything, about being a guardian, Candracar, and claiming it's why they haven't really hit it off. Too bad it's actually Nerissa, and she just handed over the heart of Candracar. After a few days of receiving the heart, she marches on Candracar. She fights through the many protective spells that try to ward her off. So on the way there, they pass the Tower of Mist, which is considered Candracar's prison, and Nerissa claims it to be a place of hypocrisy, and says that Candracar isn't over resorting to evil for the greater good. Meanwhile, as she marches on Candracar, Will is speaking with the spirit of Cassidy after figuring out where the location of her star is, and Cassidy gifts her a spark of the heart, which apparently is something that any Heart of Candracar holder has for the rest of their life. And at that point, it serves like a second Heart of Candracar for the girls. Nerissa cracks the Heart of Candracar, and a black ooze starts to absorb the fortress. And the girls and Nerissa are covered in separate ethereal shields that are shields from the hearts, and they black out as Candracar is swallowed in darkness. They awaken in Heatherfield on a supposedly normal and quiet day. They notice that they don't have powers, and Irma goes ahead and reminds them that this is nothing new, that they've been powerless before, hence earlier in the prologue. And Will is kind of alarmed that no one really seems to care about the fact that they don't have powers for apparently no reason. So as the day goes on, each girl forgets more and more about Candracar, and Cornelia seems to be the only one holding on. Cornelia runs into Cadma, who can't seem to access her power. And together they both hypothesize that Candracar has been destroyed. Later, Cornelia meets up with the girls and tells them this, and they look at her with complete confusion, only to ask, what is Candracar? Cornelia runs out in fear, crying her eyes out, and as she does, she runs into Peter, someone that's been hinted as one of her crushes. She bolts away from him, and she's horrified as she tries to remember Caleb's face, and all she can see is Peter's. She runs all the way home to look at the drawing that Elion had done of Caleb years before, to remind her, and then this wakes her up in Candracar. So it turns out their consciousness had been sent to the bodies of their astral drops, so everything that they saw during that period of time actually happened. And this concerns Taranee kissing Nigel in front of her mother, Will going on a bike ride with Matt. Basically, everyone's dates were real. So once they awaken, Cassidy's spark heals the heart of Candracar and actually merges with it. Then it becomes a battle of who's going to get the heart of Candracar. Nerissa starts pleading to the heart as if she's speaking to Cassidy, telling her that she's doing it for her. And Will decides that the heart actually chooses who gets to rule it, based on it having the spirit of the nymph Xinjing, who created the heart of Candracar. And of course, the heart chooses Will for her humility. So then Nerissa goes in a last-ditch effort and absorbs the knights, and Shagon protects Kor, again because he was his owner in life, and he weakens Nerissa in the fight. This causes Nerissa to become a mummy once again, and then the girls just blast her with beams of light and she dissipates into dust. So in the comics, this is where I deem the epilogue to begin, because the rest of it just focuses on character relationships and Nerissa is done for. So we'll deal with that after we review the finale of season 2. So the TV verse has a concept of every world having a heart, such as the heart of Candracar. There's a heart of Earth and Meridian. Sometimes this is represented through a person or an amulet. Our amulets being, of course, the heart of Candracar, the heart of Meridian, and the heart of Zambala. Our heart of Earth being Cornelia's sister. And briefly, the heart of Iridia, which is a stone monster that Nerissa tries to seduce.
Ripe for the taking. Now, to steal your heart. I've searched so long for someone like you. Someone with strength and power, not just good looks.
Mama always said I was special.
Oh.
Smooth, doll. Real smooth.
It's very uncomfortable. The concept of the hearts are never explained, but apparently, of course, the more you have, the more powerful you are. Where comics Nerissa was concerned with revenge against Candracar, TV-verse Nerissa is centered on ruling all the worlds under the moniker of peace. So I don't like the concept of there being multiple hearts. I feel like it cheapens the heart of Candracar. But aside from that, it is cool to have Cornelia's sister Lillian have the immense magical power that she will one day come into. It could have been awesome to see her in many seasons later actually use that power for herself. And it does seem that her powers randomly awaken, but the episode where it happens is actually a fun experience. So anything that Lillian wishes comes true, and the girls are at the mercy of Matt and Cornelia's storytelling abilities, because as they're telling the story, everything that they're saying is actually happening.
You haven't said a word since the movie.
Frankly, Marco, I'm stunned you'd take me to such a trashy joust. Did you really think I'd enjoy all that gratuitous carnage?
But Lady Brenda, you chose the joust.
Cleverly, they get Lillian to gift her power to 3 regents, and that is Matt, Mr. Huggles, and Napoleon. Huggles and Matt retake their form as knights, and Napoleon beefs up too. So the stipulation is that a heart has to be given up willingly, and this is probably inspired with how Nerissa willingly got the heart from Will when she was disguised as Matt in the comics. So remember, Nerissa secretly goaded Elion into gifting her the heart of Meridian by making her refuse it and showing her false visions of her family.
Stupid whelp. She keeps the peasants happy. But you, my son, are the true heir to my heart.
So Cadma had a plan for Will to absorb the heart of Meridian into the heart of Candracar, which for some reason leads the rest of the girls to feel that Will was going to turn evil, which was a plot that just didn't make sense.
Me neither. No one wants to finish this more than I do.
Then why'd you rush us home?
Can't say. Need to know only.
Gee, look who's suddenly all ready to rule the universe.
Yeah, I wonder if going power mad is a keeper of the heart automatic.
It is the only place Nerissa could have hidden where our search would not find her. Very good, Will.
Yeah, you really know how to think like Nerissa.
No!
What?
The others were right. It's too much power for any one person. We don't need to absorb one heart into the other, as long as we free Elion.
We can free Elion once the power is secure.
Wait!
She refuses, of course, and then Cadma tries to do this. Of course, it's moot because they learn later only an heir of Meridian can take the heart of Meridian, if it is not given willingly.
I am the universe's only hope.
So an interesting twist of fate is that they decide to release Phobos from prison in order to get the heart back. Mind you, again, that the Knights of Vengeance did release him earlier in the season, and he tried to take over Meridian again. It's safe to say that he probably would not be a good plan.
My lord, that power is rightfully yours. You should not have to bargain for it or bind yourself an oath to these traitors. It is beneath you.
Your concern is touching, Raithor, but this cell is also beneath me, and above me, and around me.
Meet Sheffield's newest foreign exchange student.
Too foreign? He'll need a whole new wardrobe. I can whip something up.
Behold, am I not down with my bad self?
Huh?
But however, he is the only option, and Nerissa is actually pretty relentless in hunting him down. So much so that after a failed protection by the girls,
How did you people ever defeat me?
Phobos decides to disguise himself as Matt, Caleb, and Blunk, which when I saw it the first time in 7th grade, I honestly fell for it in the beginning.
Ew, you guys, I think he's totally hitting on me.
Ugh, something's really wrong with him. I'm just saying, he's almost nice.
Phobos love popcorn. Rah, rah, sis boom ba. Will do good job. Good job, do Will.
Oh, that clears everything up.
So in that episode that Phobos is going to school with them and everything else, the old Guardians actually get freed. In a sort of lackluster way, by the way.
This pool, I used to swim here. On the team. The sea slugs.
You were on another team too. You were a Guardian.
Until Nerissa made you her mind monkey. But maybe I can help. Wake up, wake up, wake up!
I'm awake. And done letting Nerissa hit my snooze button.
And then immediately get trapped in the scepter, so they're not even really something to see anymore.
Wow, must really be getting crowded in there.
I am sole guardian of my power.
So it isn't until a little bit later that Phobos ends up taking the scepter for himself. Nerissa goes after Napoleon on Halloween when he is susceptible to attack.
Au revoir.
Catch you later, Toots.
What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
Who says there's no such thing as a happy ending?
Phobos.
And so dawns a new era. The Age of Phobos!
We have a winner!
Which was supposedly planned for by the girls, and they actually set up a secret agent on Phobos' side in the form of Raithor. Raithor, Sandpit, and Golem.
Please! Somebody help!
Drama queen! Too cartoony!
You know, wailing on each other really was more fun.
No argument.
So when they got Phobos released, they told him to swear on the power of Candracar that he would not take the power from himself. And this means that if he were to enter Candracar after having done this, all of his powers would be taken from him. So he has somehow built a giant portal between Candracar and Meridian, and all he needs to do is cross that threshold to be defeated. However, this happens.
So much for the thrill of victory.
And shortly after this, the battle heads back to Earth. The regents of Earth placing a glamour over downtown Heatherfield. It puts the fight on a jumbotron so that the people don't panic, even though people are still susceptible to death and injury and they don't feel or see a thing.
Fair to Midland. And you?
The fight seems pretty much hopeless until the girls become their elements and absolutely dominate this. Unfortunately, it's at the cost of their conscience, and they only get brought back by the voices of their loved ones.
Will, please, come back to me.
Irma! Taranee! Cornelia! Hey, Lynn!
Follow the voices. Follow me. Matt?
Okay. That's a trick we're not trying again anytime soon.
And the season concludes with a tease for Season 3. When we discuss Arc 3, we'll delve deeper into that business.
As always, Nerissa chose power over harmony, and thus remained trapped even as we achieved freedom.
The jewel has become her prison,
leaving her with nothing but her dreams of conquest.
I hope she and her fantasies will be very happy together.
It was over. Took everyone and everything we had. Teamwork. Harmony. Yeah, that's how we maxed out our power. Anyway, we won. We all made tracks, and the regents abandoned the glamour. The destruction downtown was blamed on the snowstorm, which made no sense, but people believe what they want to believe.
So here's where I want to add that I loved Season 2. It was brighter and funnier than Season 1, and I prefer this story of Nerissa over the comics. Star episodes would have to be G is for Garbage, where the Horn of Hypno makes a return, and all the Guardians aside from Irma are hypnotized, leaving her and Blunk on the run. And I have to say, Blunk isn't bad here. He actually has a pretty big improvement from Season 1, but he's still pretty annoying and kind of takes away from the story. But in this episode, Irma pulls an Aang, and it's just beautiful. I also really liked F is for Facade. We'll talk more about it in just a moment. But overall, the season was changing the whole fabric of Witch, and there was just no way that they could have continued the same way that the comics were. And we'll discuss this in another video at some point. So now to round out this video, I want to discuss character relationships, because even after Nerissa's defeated in the comics, there's more story going on. So we'll compare them against the show relationships. So in the comics, this is where everything goes way out of whack and gives a whole different vibe than the show. So of course, let's start with Cornelia and Caleb. So fans of the show will be shocked to know that Caleb and Cornelia actually break up permanently in the comics. Despite what lengths Cornelia went to bring him back to life, that her voice kept him sane, despite him having sacrificed his freedom to Candracar to protect her. Almost randomly, as Nerissa's marching on Candracar, Cornelia ponders life with Caleb in Heatherfield. She decides to show her human form, and here's where it gets weird. Caleb is almost instantly weirded out. To me, it just looked like Caleb didn't like the de-transformed version of Cornelia. And this conversation doesn't actually resume until after Nerissa's defeated. So Caleb tries to claim that he doesn't know the real Cornelia and that her guardian form isn't the real her, which I think is BS because it's only a different her physically. So then I feel like Cornelia, after this, feels that Caleb only liked her for her physical appearance. After this breakup, Cornelia doesn't attend the girls with dropping off Caleb and Galgita, which is Miss Rudolph, to Meridian. Instead, she only offers to deliver her to Candracar, and on the way there, Cornelia comes across a homeless man, and in an act of just pure needing to find love in the world, she builds him a little hut. And then she even takes Miss Rudolph to tour Sheffield Institute before she goes to Candracar. In the meantime, by the way, Will tears the Oracle a new one, because he implies that it was written that Cornelia and Caleb would break up, which I still want to see this prophecy everyone keeps referring to. And Will demands that he should be more open with them. And the council actually approves of this, because the Oracle begins to sympathize with Caleb and Cornelia, and he sees that perhaps they want to know what possibly could have been. So then he goes ahead and gives them a dream. For Caleb, it's what would happen if he went to Heatherfield, and for Cornelia, it's what would have happened if she went to Meridian. So in Caleb's vision, Cornelia is crying, which is actually something that she fought doing in reality. So he's clearly bothered by her two appearances based on this panel. He seems to be undecided, but he hopes going to Heatherfield might cement his decision and let him learn more about Cornelia. So the girls are happy about this, and they deck him out in stolen clothes from Peter's closet. And Caleb does end up expressing anxiety over the world of Earth and the busyness of Heatherfield, which he has seen before, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. So he expresses this and says that he has nowhere to live, and Cornelia comes up with the decision of using Elion's abandoned house, which somehow still has a mowed lawn and is pretty well cared for. So Will rightfully argues that this is trespassing and not okay, and Cornelia goes and does it anyway, pries that door right open with a crowbar, and the rest of the girls leave in disappointment. Possessively, Cornelia tells Caleb to stay there and that she'll bring him food and clothes and not to go outside without her presence. It's pretty mob wife-like. So Caleb actually eventually leaves to go try and find a job, which everyone refuses because he doesn't have any legal papers. And it's understandable that Cornelia, being so young, doesn't understand the logistics of the situation. Reading it now, I was thinking about all of these things, like, selling the house again. So a neighbor sees Caleb and calls the cops. Irma's dad tries to step in, however, Caleb mistakenly mentions Elion, and Caleb is going to be transferred to a new station. After hearing this, Cornelia urges that they attack the van mid-transit, which of course horrifies Irma, and she says that if they don't help her, she will try to forget them as friends. So she actually does this. She risks her life, as well as everyone there, considering Irma's father and Caleb. She literally tips the van off the road, causing them to open fire. In deflecting a bullet, Cornelia accidentally sends it towards Irma's wing, shattering it, and in a panic, she faints and de-transforms, of course, revealing the secret to everyone. And it's implied that Caleb lives on as a fugitive for the rest of his life for some reason. So in Cornelia's dream, she states that she'll love him no matter the decision. And when she chooses to go to Meridian, the girls actually try to talk her out of it and are not happy about it. Cornelia simply says, "If you are really my friends, you won't talk me out of it." In the next panel, Caleb's hands are on her shoulders, gripping them as tears run down her face, which is pretty poetic and a little ironic. She suggests leaving an astral drop in her place. Cornelia and Irma argue that this is all madness, and Cornelia states that the whole life they're living right now is madness, and that this is the sanest decision she could have made. So the Oracle grants her decision, taking the power of Earth, but for some reason letting her keep her guardian form. He states, "I know this is what you wanted," and to me it looks like he's looking at Caleb as he's saying that, to be honest. So in Meridian, she spends her days frolicking with Caleb, and it looks happy, but of course she can't forget her life and her friends. So she asks Elion about the Laren solution, which is supposedly a potion that Elion's ancestor took in order to forget her life on Earth. And Elion offers it, and Cornelia tries to take it from her without hesitation, which of course shocks Elion. So she eventually emerges from privacy with an empty bottle, and it seems like she's just enjoying her time in Meridian. And one day the girls show up, and it's a little different because Will is in Cornelia's former guardian clothes, and there's someone new in Will's guardian clothes. So it turns out that Will decided to forfeit the control of the heart of Candracar and become the Earth Guardian in Cornelia's place. The character in Will's place is Orube, which appears in a later arc, and we'll talk about her in the future. Will actually looks good in Cornelia's outfit, so they try to gift her her old photos, and she tries to vehemently refuse them, and eventually she just breaks down, and it's revealed that she never actually took the Laren solution, so she never erased her memories. It's implied that she goes back to being a guardian and goes back to Earth by Orube, I guess. And then Caleb pulls a Prince Charming, saying they'll always find each other in their dreams.
What do you mean you're not coming back to Heatherfield? Wake up, Rebel Leader, the good guys won. You're out of a job.
Cornelia, it's my duty to help Queen Elion. Many of Phobos's minions are still at large in Meridian.
You're choosing Meridian over me?
Try to understand.
Oh, I understand.
A good half of the season is spent fighting constantly.
If you're not gonna help, then get out of the way!
Come on, you can't still be mad at me. I'm on Earth every day.
Yeah, for your queen's sake, not mine.
You wanted me in Heatherfield, now I'm there. What difference does the Y make? Cornelia, stop it. You can't still be mad at me. Just because I put my duty to my queen first does not mean...
What's Elion's favorite non-fighting evil activity?
Drawing. Why?
What's mine?
It's almost like she could sense the other universe. In the future of the comics, Caleb and Elion actually end up together. However, I don't have access to this right now, so when I finally get a PDF of it, we'll talk about it. So earlier I mentioned episode F. This was during the rockiness of Cornelia and Caleb, and she actually starts to see Peter, unfortunately in a transformed version, because that's who he kind of had the hots for earlier.
Hey, Lillian.
Lillian?
So here's where Irma's clothes changing ability comes into play. She goes... It's a pretty cool montage of her double dating Peter and Caleb, transforming back and forth and changing the clothing colors. Of course, it goes the usual way of failing. However, this kind of cements in the show that Cornelia and Caleb are endgame.
Just a facade, sis. She was so serious. I didn't want to hurt her feelings.
You were gonna break it off?
She wasn't the one. And we've all got to find something real.
He's actually very good at the Earth technology now, by the way.
Did you find the knights yet?
Caleb.
Everything changes. She's there. Life rearranges. Winged angel from above. Help me find the will to love.
Now let's reflect on Will's relationships. Hers are actually really huge during this arc. Of course, there's her issues with her mom dating Mr. Collins.
You two are really more alike than you think. Which was meant as a compliment.
But they eventually settle down. In the show, however, it's only after he saves her life. The relationship with her mother has been strained due to Will's lying about where she's been and all of the things like that. Somehow she gets all the bad luck with that. So her mom felt that she couldn't trust her and saw that her grades were failing, so she put in a transfer for them to move away from Heatherfield, of course, ending the Guardians. So both the show and the comics have this plot, and of course they both go and pull a heist. And it's pretty cool to see. In both cases, the mom decides to stay. So Will's relationship with Cornelia is shaping up even better. They constantly go to each other for consoling and advice and have each other's back. While they still take different approaches in the comics, they're doing a lot better. Will's relationship with her father is actually really a shocker and what really floored me in reading the comics. So in the show, he was, a high-rolling rich dude, and he seemed genuinely a little sad that he left Will and her mom and, wants to be back in her life. He even has a fiance named Serena, which at one point Will thinks is Nerissa in disguise, but truly she's just a new, cool stepmom for her.
You like frogs? Your best friends are Irma, Taranee, Cornelia, and Helyn. You yell at Tony's microwave oven like it was alive. Oh, and you have a big crush on a boy named Matt.
Wow, you sure have me pegged.
Will, don't worry. Your secrets are safe with me.
You are the last person I'd share secrets with, Nerissa.
It's Serena.
Serena, right.
Hold that thought, babe.
Will! Hello, Will. What a surprise, Will.
I think maybe I was blindsided. Dad marrying a total stranger, but all that matters is you make each other happy, right?
Right.
And that means you're not the evil witch I thought you were. Literally.
Thanks, I think.
So you have to understand my shock when I read the comics and found out that Will's dad was blackmailing Will's mom for custody of her. That Susan's choice of words implied that Tom was abusive and possibly ran with the mob. Well, Will's mom never really outright says anything like that, aside from "don't touch us." You can see the anxiety in her pacing and her reactions to things. I guess apparently he didn't sign the divorce papers and has a private eye taking photos of Susan and Mr. Collins to build his case against her. It's insane, and that continues on into Arc 3. Last for Will, of course, is Matt. As you know, in the TV verse, he knows everything there is to know about the Guardians and that he was turned into Shagon. Overall, he's more caring and is involved. In the comics during this arc, Matt and Will are still friends, with neither of them courageous enough to move forward in the relationship. So their communication is so bad that they end up mad at each other all the time. One always thinks that the other is seeing somebody else, such as Matt thinking that Will was seeing Eric. So Matt starts off being a jerk to Eric, thinking that he was the one that Will was with over the summer. Just to let you know, this was a confusion that Mr. Collins had, seeing Will get onto a motorbike with Caleb. Worse is toward the end of the arc with Matt's childhood friend Mandy. Mandy also swims and is in the same competition as Will. Matt, the oaf that he is, hopes they'll be friends, except Will ends up sabotaging her and race after race. She's using her powers to destroy Mandy's success, only to find out that Mandy is super depressed because her parents are getting a divorce, a pain that Will understands all too well. This brings them closer, and she just discovers that her and Matt are literally just platonic. So Mandy is in the TV verse, but she's barely a thing. She's only around for like an episode, and Will has some jealousy of her.
Hey, Will, great race. You almost had it.
Sorry, are you talking to me? Or are you still congratulating my competition?
Will, I didn't mean it. She's just a really old friend.
Racing against your girlfriend?
You reek of desperation, Guardian.
Which is weird because this Matt is a sweetheart compared to the one in the comics.
Well, good luck.
Could you excuse us a sec? You're not Nerissa's thrall anymore.
So?
So you're supposed to be on my side, not Mandy's personal pep squad.
Wait, are you jealous?
No, I just stay away from that girl.
Orders? Got enough of those from Nerissa. Never thought I'd get them from you.
No way I'm losing you to her.
And she cheats during swimming here, which Phobos approves of, but once again, Matt and Will in the TV show win double time over the ones in the comics. Next is Taranee and Nigel, which is actually looked at more in the show now, finally. In both cases, her mother doesn't like Nigel due to the people he runs with, such as Uriah, and they make him seem like more of an oaf rather than someone that was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. So in the comics, Taranee, Nigel, and Eric and Helyn part of the school paper, and they go to write an article about a rock and roll cafe, which is obviously this universe's Hard Rock Cafe, not realizing that it's closed the day that they go, and they run into Uriah and get into a fight and get arrested. So while Helyn's mother is very understanding that she would never do something like this, Taranee's mother comes in without even asking any questions and just slaps her across the face in front of everybody, and that was just also very shocking for me. And this pushes Taranee, after being told that her mother is ashamed of her, she decides to start failing at tests, and this is likely the inspiration for Taranee's outbursts in the beginning of the show. But also later in the TV verse, this seemed as an inspiration for Taranee acting out again, where she starts dressing in a punk fashion and dyeing her hair.
You look really different. What? I said you look different. Stop saying I'm different.
Ronnie?
My mom says you're a bad influence. Like I need any help being bad.
Dude, if it doesn't work out, can I have her number?
Hey, I was worried. I couldn't find you outside the club.
That's okay. You found me now.
Sorry I got you into trouble again. Your mom sounded pretty mad.
That's her problem. I'm sick of always being the good girl, the smart one, the perfect child.
I don't know. The sweet thing is, that's kind of what I like about you. Glasses and all.
Sweet.
So Irma has less going on in Boyland in the TV verse. She's not transforming constantly to get boys. She does still have Martin sexually harassing her constantly, despite her constant refusal.
Get this into your head, Martin. I am not in love with you. I'm not even in like with you. I've tried to tell you a million times, but you won't take the hint. You are a pest. You are a toad. You're ugly, and your mother dresses you funny. You are the bane of my existence. Martin Tubbs, you are a loser.
See, she still has a crush on Andrew Hornby, someone that she turned into a frog in the comics. He's just a dumb jock.
Who's that? Duh, Andrew Hornby.
Hey, funny girl's mad crush.
And then I guess crush-wise, we talk about Vance Michael Justin, which is serving as a replacement for Carmilla, someone that she's a fan of in the books. Carmilla was more like an Avril Lavigne or something, and Vance Michael Justin is like an Aaron Carter or something of the time, and she has a crush on that celebrity.
Was that
Vance, Michael, Justin. Oh, and my hair is a mess.
Nothing to worry about with that boy.
So lastly, we have Eric and Halen, and they, in my opinion, at least at this point in the story, are the best couple. They have a meet cute where Eric almost rides her over with a scooter. I know, but only good things happen to them, really, in the comics, and it's just so sweet to see them. However, in the show, Nerissa does mind trick him at one point. She has this spell going on where all the boys are falling for her.
Was this the boy you liked, Halen? Because he doesn't seem too interested in you, that is.
What's the matter? Braces got your tongue?
Grandma, please. Oh, Grandma, please. Grandma, don't you love me? Read my lips. The answer is no.
Love the mouth of Frankenstein? Ugh.
She uses de-aged Halen to really shatter her heart, and it makes me sick every time I see it. So after that point in the story, it seemed like Eric was gonna be told about them being guardians. It was at least a possibility, maybe in season 3.
Ugh. What's going on? Where am I? How did I get this golden tan?
Don't you remember anything?
Not even sure what day it is. And what the heck happened here? Was there an earthquake or something?
Or something.
Well, is it gonna be okay?
It will be. I know it.
Hey, you! When did you get braces?
I know, they're kinda ugly.
How could anything look ugly on you? Besides, they're only temporary, and they're so shiny.
So a plot that I've saved for the end of this is the Astral Drops, a significant setup for Arc 3. In the comics, the girls left their Astral Drops instead, and when they returned, Will's Astral Drop has actually disappeared, and it turns out that she is really heartbroken over Matt, the Astral Drop, of course, and runs away, hoping not to be reabsorbed. This, of course, only further strains Will and her mother's relationship. After all, he calls her to call the cops. It turns out that Astral Drops have feelings and thoughts. They aren't just shells to leave behind. Will's Astral Drop has actually fallen for Matt. So Will's really worried, and she says, you know, there's someone out there who
dress like me, walk, talk, and act like me. It just might be the next best thing, but not quite me.
So eventually they hunt her down, and she actually agrees to be reabsorbed. Of course, Will getting all of the heartbreak and everything that she saw while she wasn't there. So even Astral, Will, and Cornelia click, because Cornelia even asks her what her preferred name would be. So in the TV verse, this plot is handled by Nerissa turning Will's Astral Drop into an Altermere, a show exclusive term, meaning that she gives them a soul.
You are no longer an Astral Drop, no longer a soulless slave to the bearer of the heart of Candracar.
Essentially everything an Astral Drop was already capable of in the comics. So Nerissa actually did this to the copy she made of Yan Lin, which of course is the only way that she was able to corrupt Yan Lin.
World tour. Never gonna happen. Oh, well, we'll see.
Supply. Got a different request. You sit in the cell and let me gloat a while.
Back your youth, your beauty.
Youth overrated, and I'm still one hot old broad. Old Guardians are so over. My money's on the new one.
You seem incorruptible, and I am running out of time. So let's see if I can't find a suitable replacement. We'll just hide you away and create someone more accommodating.
Because the Altermere coveted replacing Yan Lin in her life, and that greed made her more susceptible to mind control.
Make your choice, Altermere. Oblivion or existence?
You seem to have created a flawed copy, Nerissa. I do not have Yan Lin's strength of character. I love her granddaughter. I may even love Zacharias. I cannot give up this life. I choose existence.
That is all I need to make you mine.
And this story with Will's Astral Drop is actually very tragic.
I just hope you don't get too attached to this life.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, naturally, when Will finds you, she'll reabsorb you into the heart, ending your existence.
Never mind. Can you hold off tormenting me until we've hunted it down and absorbed it?
Maybe just this once.
Let's spread out. It can't hide from all of us.
That's the magic word. Why aren't you disappearing? I am not an Astral Drop. And you're crying. Astral Drops can't cry. I am not an Astral Drop. Look, forgery! You're the one attacking here. Because you want to destroy me! I just want to absorb you back into the heart where you belong. You're not supposed to care. Drops don't feel anything. I am not a drop. I'm alive. I have our powers, our memories. The old woman said I could replace you. She said I am you.
How about we take them both down and sort it all out later?
Wait! They're getting somewhere. What old woman? The one that changed me! The one that warned me! The one from our nightmares! You still want to absorb me back into the heart, back into oblivion! If you're really me, you know I won't. I believe you. Of course you do. We're practically sisters.
Disgusting. Still, my...
You saved my life, when all you wanted was to live. That's what sisters do, right?
Oh, Will, she's fading.
I know, but what can I... Unless I have to absorb her. Not into the heart, but into me. But only if you say yes. Then all your thoughts, feelings, memories, everything will live on in me. I'd like that.
Alright, and that's my review of Arc 2. I hope I didn't miss anything because, as you see, there was a lot to cover. I promised a couple videos, so look forward to those. Going forward, these videos should be coming out a lot faster because now I don't have to compare comics to a TV series. Someday we may speculate on what Season 3 could have been. Anyways, thanks for watching.
We take that power from within. We can give him a mega Kung Pao case of indigestion.
You're Serbian.
No, let a geek do it. There's more groveling that way. No, let us. Hey, more trays over here. Oh, I want to go on. That was.
Wow, we've got more players than the school band. I love Punch.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Which reminds me.
You're calling Matt again?
Yes.
No, there he is. What?
Perspective. I'm the only one not starring in a soap opera.
This week.
Perfect.
My lunch.
Ew! How's it going out there? Badly. And Phobos hasn't even made his grand entrance yet.
Well, I can't do anything about your hair, but...
Well, meow to you too, gorgeous. What's a pretty kitty like you doing out alone on Halloween?
But why keep us in the dark?
We could. Holy! Those are the coolest costumes ever. Where's the zipper on this thing? How many guys are in this suit?
Let's find out what's inside you instead.
You changed clothes fast.
I don't remember Halloween costumes coming with that kind of padding.
Drake?
Saw a Guardian throw lightning in here. Figured it was worth a try.
Can't hold out.
Hey, the heart's warm.
Even the prettiest flower gets brittle with the cold. Brittle and likely to snap.
You think I'm pretty?
Water. Fire. Earth.
Depression.
We have to save them.
You can't even save yourself.
Thanks to you.
Don't start with me, Queenlet.
Hallinor, what have you... The flames soaked up the oxygen around her. She will recover in minutes. I must hurry. The Guardians are not experienced enough.
Whatever trauma comes, whether it's as stupid as getting braces or as terrible as losing your grandmother to the dark side.
As long as we face it together.
Alright, so these are books 4, 5, and 6, and they comprise Yen Press's release of Arc 2, Nerissa's Revenge. We have the first volume of this arc here, number 4. Will on the side there. Okay. First page. Contents. Okay. Very nice. And at the back of volume 4, you get a drawing of Will's room, cool layout and little notes, a profile on Matt, Peter, and Nigel. For volume 5, this is the cover, inside cover, okay, all that, all the comic. Again, remember, these are very thick. And at the end of this volume, we get Irma's room, Taranee's room, and that's it. For volume 6, here's the cover, Nerissa versus Will. Okay, right on the inside here. At the end of this volume, you get Cornelia's room and Hey Lynn's room. And that's it.